Hello, I'm Wings the Wolf, and today we'll be continuing in my Creature of Scenario fanfiction. Last time I did this, we talked about my character Honeysuckle, and I believe I mentioned Malware in that video, the main villain of this whole thing. And that is who I'm drawing today, Malware. He's an Ikoren, and I don't entirely have his backstory and everything figured out, but I do have some of the main story parts of it. And I'll give you the gist of it, and on other characters' videos, we'll go into more specifics. But for now, I'm just going to talk about the general idea of some things he's been doing. So sit back and enjoy! Malware is an Ikoren who gains strange abilities, and at first when he found out he had them, he used them for good. He even revived a Lysias that he thought didn't deserve to die, the way she did. And for a while it continued this way. He would help out whoever he could, but eventually he started to use his power for evil. He found he had the ability to make the ground kind of swallow creatures whole, but only worked with some creatures, and he couldn't do it on mass gatherings of creatures. He played around with this a lot and made some people starve to death by not being able to get to food or water while being stuck under there. When he found he had the ability to teleport, he definitely abused it. He used it to take down creatures that could have usually easily killed an Ikoren. He also found that he had access to a special dimension that he called the Void. The Void was the place where creatures went to after they died. And he sent a lot of creatures there. When he teleported, he had the ability, after a while of practicing, to grab creatures and just plop them in there. His other basic set of abilities that he has for the section of the story that we'll be talking about are reviving creatures, giving other creatures some of his abilities, and more advanced teleporting. He could revive creatures as many times as he liked, so long as they didn't go to an eternal sleep in the void, which is when a creature just goes to sleep because they don't feel like thinking anymore, and they never wake up in the void. And the more advanced teleporting is, after a while of teleporting and getting bored of things, he eventually had a near-death experience when he was getting a little bit too risky with his powers. And he thought, well, what if I had somebody else to do this for me? He eventually discovered that he could teleport into different timelines. And it would be the same universe with different creatures. I mean, the same species and stuff, but different individuals. With his newfound ability, he went into another timeline and grabbed a Chimera. Her name was Seer. She was actually kind of fine with Malware kidnapping her. She found life to be a bit too boring. In fact, she was actually really glad that someone had taken her and said, hey, I'll give you these super cool abilities if you go do this for me. And she was all up for it. So she became Malware's minion. He gave her teleportation and unnatural strength. When giving her these abilities, he also changed her appearance. She was formerly a red, yellow, and orange color, but he changed her color palette to his color palette. Seer had lots of fun being Malware's minion. She loved terrorizing creatures, especially since she was just a mischievous creature to begin with. Later on, he also captured a Sachuri named Sarah. Unlike Seer, Sarah was very unhappy about being kidnapped. She had a family to look after. She wasn't the mother or anything, she was one of the siblings, but nonetheless, she still had a family. And Malware said, you know what? No, you're gonna work for me anyways. And when Sarah refused, he kind of just put her in a different dimension where there was nobody else until she caved in. And after she did one thing for him, he's like, you know, I don't feel like dealing with you anymore, go back to your universe, where she lived in eternal guilt. That is until we get to her story anyways, but right now we're focused on Malware. There was one creature in particular that he tormented a lot. It was the first creature that he had Seer kill. A red and black Paraxilian that he kept reviving over and over and over for no particular reason. He never even revealed himself, at least for a little while. His reign of terror continued until he made a fatal error. And you'll find out what that is once we do his story. Until now, hope you have a good day. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Bye! Later on, he also kidnapped until this... Stop!